So what's up, fellow journeyers? It has been a long time since we've done a Q&A. Like we used to do these
weekly,
like with what Wednesdays, I guess, with Hensley. It's been like years, it feels like. Maybe it really has been, I don't know. We've got like 231 questions built. No, we've narrowed it down to 5 questions. We feel like we get quite a bit for you guys. And also, this gives us the opportunity because you've got YouTube time, which is us in the Northeast. This is kind of real time where we've, kind of came and we're in Tennessee for the holidays with family. You can see like maybe a little bit of the decorations here. But before we get into our 5 Q&As, we've actually done a little more decorating than that. That makes it sound like it's a whole lot. But, yeah.
It's a lot for what we typically do in the RV.
Compared to what we usually do, this is pretty intense. So question number 1, are you gonna say this is the most frequent question we get?
I think so. I think this
we get this a lot, or like different variations of this. The first question though, looking back through your videos, I've counted numerous fifth wheels, vehicles to tow them all. Seems you're all enjoying living the life day to day, but where does all the money come from to be able to purchase all these vehicles and RVs and spend day to day enjoying these wonderful sights? Several things have lined up where this was an easier transition to us maybe than some. I was already working from home, I already had mobile income. Marissa had mobility with what she did, but specifically to what Steve's talking about with the question of why do you have all these different RVs, all these different vehicles? One misconception is that we're just losing money left and right as we do this. But you can actually buy things used, high quality used, with the intention to resell those later, and you can break even, or we've even come out ahead. So all this stuff you've seen us do over the years, like I added it up, we're about 10K ahead right now.
They always say make your money up front. So if you look for a really good deal, then you're either gonna make your money or lose your money in the first of your purchase. So we always do tons of research, try to find a really good deal, and then we make upgrades along the way. So in the end, that we come out a little bit ahead with that sale.
I guess with money, you've got money out versus money in. On the money in part of it, since we don't have a trust fund, another question we got was from Mary. Do you still have the house you purchased as an investment? How is that working out as landlords? So we do still have that house, the ugliest house in the block that we bought. There's a free hammer underneath there, babe. Already seen a free hammer.
Worth it.
All right.
Maybe you should go in first and just make sure everything's okay.
Oh. We also have 3 other rentals. So I guess when you think of our income and you picture like a pie chart, you might picture like almost the entire pie is YouTube and ad revenue. That's not the pie chart at all. Like our pie chart, this is what our pie chart looks like. The 2 amazing things to me are, even with my assumption before we started doing this, is how small the YouTube ad revenue section is, and then how large the Patreon. And this isn't a push for you guys to join Patreon or anything like that, but just know, like as far as supporting these creators, what if you even $2 a month, what it does for those creators compared to the ad revenue is just, it's huge. Patreon is the difference between us doing this as a hobby versus doing it full time. And like as far as how much does this lifestyle cost, it can vary all over the board based on how you travel, where you go.
It's kind of similar to saying how much does it cost to live in a house. I mean, that is so broad, and you know, I mean, you can live in a tiny house or you can live in, 10,000 square feet and have a mansion on the beach. We're not spending a lot more than we were in a house, maybe even a little less than what we did typically.
So we balance the expensive stuff like moving around frequently, finding what we can on the go. That is not the cheapest way to do this. You could do probably $2,500 a month and live a month at a time at places, RV parks with very few amenities. You could do less than that if you want to boondock in the West in the winter, or you could be spending $6,500 a month by only looking for, you know, places with tons of amenities, moving a week at a time or less at a time, making sure it's got a paved, you know, spot for your RV, and, you know, the hot tub and the pool and the, you know, the clubhouse, and just, you know, so you can be anywhere in between. And that's the cool thing, it's flexible. So if money starts getting tight, just go boondock out in the woods for a month, you know, or you don't have to do that necessarily, but just go find an RV park with fewer amenities. And then you can save money that way. In case you're curious, I know Derek's curious. He says, I miss your Airstream. I'm curious how the new rig works for your family. And then we also got Scott's asking, so Nathan, how are the Timberlands? Basically, how's the truck? Just installed it, my Chevy 2500, been happy with them. As far as the fifth wheel compared to the Airstream, it's very different. You've seen it in some of our videos, like towing it, moving it around. It's bigger, it's more cumbersome. That's the con, probably the biggest con. That and the fact that we had to buy a bigger truck to tow it. But other than that, like, it's been pretty nice. Like,
I think we were at a point in our travels where we just needed some extra space, especially since we added a new person into the mix. So we were just at that time where we needed to stretch our legs. So even though we added more square footage, it's still a small space. So we still get those pros of living small, and we're still mobile, and it's not been as difficult traveling with it as I think we expected.
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's still times where we look at a campground and we're too big and we can't get in. We could have got in with the Airstream. I mean, that still happens, but I don't think it's been, even the Northeast, it wasn't super bad.
So it's been worth it for us.
We gained a washer dryer, residential fridge, just more space to stretch out in general for us, for JJ, for the whole family.
It's been the most home-like as far as having those little things that make a huge difference when you're living small.
Now, as far as the truck, it hasn't been as reliable as the fifth wheel, which is surprising. Usually I would have assumed the truck would have done better. So they've completely removed the airbags, the air suspension. Here, over on the other side, it's gone. I don't see an air compressor. From what I can tell, everything having to do with the air suspension system looks like it's been removed. One more thing you gotta watch out for in the Northeast. This has nothing to do with the Northeast, actually. This just has to do with our truck. You gotta watch out for check engine lights. Thank goodness we have friends here with cars, because we don't have a truck. So where's the truck this time? Another 500 miles, another check engine light. This time turbo related. So didn't totally expect all that to happen with the truck, but I still don't regret the truck. I'm not gonna say I would never buy a Ram again, or I would never get a dually or a short bed. Well, I can say we've loved the short bed, like the versatility of that, and the Timberlands have been doing great.
But Derek, we agree. We do miss our Airstream, but
For sure. For sure.
But we, you can't have it all.
So one question, maybe request, we get a lot. Mark says, hey, ever thought about coming to Outer Banks? Brad, we enjoy the channel. Love to do a meet with my grandchildren here in St. Augustine. Jojo, been watching since the beginning. Have y'all thought about doing a meetup? So we do plan on having a meetup in Tampa, Florida. It'll be around the middle of January, in or around the RV show. We'll release final details for that stuff for you guys as that gets a little bit closer. But just be watching for that. So if you're around the area,
yeah, so make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we try to post in the community tab on YouTube, and we'll be updating all of our meetups in our one in Tampa coming. We'll put the details there, because we definitely love meeting you guys. It is so encouraging. You all are just so uplifting, and we love putting names with faces, and I mean, it's very exciting for us to say hello. So thank you all who come to our meetups, and who we hope to get to see you in Florida next month.
Another question we've gotten quite a bit, and this is still all new to us too, but basically, like Daniel says, what method are you using to teach Hensley how to read? Julie says, have you thought about school for Hensley, planning on homeschooling? Head Crown Arrow says, can you guys do a video on how you homeschool Hensley and what you guys use?
I will say, I feel like we've already along the way been schooling Hensley, so it's not that it's a completely new concept to us. It's just we're maybe doing something a little more official than we were before. I think this lifestyle's been really good for her. We're able to just teach hands-on. I mean, we can go I mean, we've been in sea caves exploring, you know, marine life or history. We get to see that firsthand. So I love that this lifestyle has just made learning pretty simple and pretty easy and hands-on. I did want to pick a curriculum for me personally because I wanted something that kind of gave me a guideline but didn't make me feel really rigid in the curriculum. So I chose The Good and the Beautiful. I really like it because they're really short, simple lessons about art and nature and faith, and it's just about being a good person, and it just really incorporates the grammar, spelling, everything kind of all in one. And then I have a separate math book with it. It's been really good for us. That's been a good fit for Hensley and I as we've taken on this new adventure together. I think it's more about teaching your kids how to love to learn.
Yeah, that's big.
And that's kind of something we've tried to instill in her, is just to love to learn and to be curious and how to find answers. Because if your kid loves to learn and they know how to find answers and they carry that sense of curiosity,
she's good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. So this last question is something that's kind of resurfaced this last 2 weeks, and it has to do with where are our comments on YouTube. And so some of the comments that you guys have left us, one says, funny thing about your comments being disabled, according to YouTube officials, they do not disable channel comments, but what they do is block videos. Really weird about the comments disabled, because I watch others whose kids are just as visible as yours, but they still have comments available. YouTube don't have your comments disabled. You guys do. I just posted a comment. It's nowhere to be found here. You guys go through and select the comments you want to keep. And this in general, like, when are the comments coming back? So this is frustrating because we want the comments. We want them there. We have not taken them away. And you've actually got two different issues. You've got COPPA, which is the Child Protection Act that's sort of went into effect on YouTube the last few weeks. So we have like 580 videos. They are just not being flagged as violating COPPA because YouTube has their own algorithm that looks into that, flags that. We're not being flagged. From what I can tell, we're not at risk of having comments removed because of that, or add-in revenue affected, or any of the stuff that comes with COPPA. That's a whole other thing. But that's not what's affecting our channel. What's affecting our channel is from like back in February of 2019. When you had these predatory comments going on. And if you remember, they disabled most all the comments from these family channels. But then, like, within weeks or months, most of the channels started to get their comments back. We've always said, and I believe, we read every single comment that we get is read. So we're very meticulous about what is seen and what's said, and because we want the community to be a good experience for you guys. YouTube basically allowed other people's comments to come back, and they basically didn't allow ours. It's not just that you guys can't leave comments. I want you to understand that we don't even have comments at all either. Like, on the back end of our administrative setup, all the comments are gone. It's not like we're picking and choosing what comments make it, what don't. Like, they're all gone. Like, we can't see any comments that have been left for Hensley, JJ, anything. And and I know there's some tips, and we've tried these, like where you can turn the comments back on or turn them off. We don't have, it's grayed out. We don't have that ability. They're just gone. I've chatted with YouTube. I've emailed YouTube. I've sent the form into YouTube. You can't just like walk up to YouTube's door and knock and say, hey, by the way, where's our comments? We have begged and pleaded with YouTube to allow us to have comments back, like a lot of these channels that you guys are seeing, and you have this confusion over what's going on. We get it. It's confusing. It looks like we're turning the comments off, but I promise we're not. We're not. We want them back. But the good news is we've tried to go above and beyond as far as, like, if you want to connect with us, if you want to leave comments, you can go to the community tab on YouTube. We always have an option there where you guys can comment there if you want to do that. You can comment on Instagram, you can comment on Facebook, you can comment on Patreon. We have all these other places where the conversation is still ongoing, and we want to hear from you guys.
Yes,
we want to interact.
Our comments are so important to us. Like I said with Meetups, I mean, they're just so encouraging and uplifting, and that's how we feel without our comments. It feels like, you know, it's harder for us to find that connection, to answer your questions, you know, to know what people are thinking, or just, I mean, it's kind of like we have a one-way conversation when they take our comments away. So we definitely want that way to have conversations and to answer your questions, and we love getting your comments. So unfortunately, you know, I know you guys are frustrated and it's frustrating us as well.
Yes.
But we, you know, it is what it is, right? So you just have to move forward and say, okay, well, if we can't connect on YouTube, how can we connect? So please, yes, come join us on Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, YouTube, community tab, or wherever it is that we can come and try our best to address your comments, because we love hearing from you guys.
We're hoping the comments will come back at some point, but we'll just have to wait and make the best of what we can where we're at.
But we definitely wanted to just address it because we want you to know that we genuinely do care for you guys, and we appreciate you watching, and we appreciate all your questions and comments, and we are reading them, I promise.
Hope this has been helpful. Again, thank you so much for following our journey. The next video will be, you like my sound effects?
Yeah, I do.
Pretty much the best. The next video, we'll be back in the Northeast. Be finishing up that route. Just got a couple of videos left on that, and then we'll be back to we'll be back to real time. So thank you so much, guys. Until next time, we'll catch you guys later.